Hi, my name is Dan, and I want to tell you about a little adventure that my friend Dave and I took last month. We took a canoe and went up the Stanislaus River to a place that looked very interesting on the map. It was called Devil's Canyon. Well, we were able to find Devil's Canyon, and we hiked up a little stream that ran down the canyon, and we found some very interesting things. For instance, we found a fantastic quartz vein that was exposed right across the riverbed, and it pointed directly to an old gold mine. So we explored that for a while and had a pretty good time. But the purpose of this video actually is to talk about a problem that we had on the way back. And hopefully by explaining this problem, it will help other people avoid potentially catastrophic results that could occur if this event were to happen to them. So anyhow, I hope you enjoy the video and I hope it's helpful. Thanks for watching.
This is the map that got me interested in Devil's Canyon. Now, this area has changed quite a bit because this is the Stanislaus River that you see off to the left, but that is backed up quite a bit because of a dam that was made along the Stanislaus. You can see Devil's Canyon right here. Notice there's no apostrophe, so this is the Canyon of Many Devils. Also notice Grizzly Gulch. This will play a part in the story later. Now here's the entrance to Devil's Canyon. Notice how the water level has dropped down quite a bit because it's late in the fall. This is where we beached our canoe. This is looking up the canyon. You can see how the water level has dropped quite a bit. It's late in the fall. Notice the cracked mud that's down in the foreground. Now up here, this is the upper part of the canyon where the water hasn't reached. It hasn't receded. Take a look at this piece of milky quartz that stretches across the creek in the bottom. Very symmetrical, fantastic piece of quartz. Here's a section, shows you where the quartz is across the creek, and it's pointing right in the direction of a mine that we found just a little bit later. There's Dave, he's standing next to the quartz, and right over that berm is where the mine is. Now, we didn't find any gold like this, unfortunately, but oftentimes gold does deposit itself in quartz formations, and so that's one of the reasons why miners are often looking for quartz. Here's Dave up on top of that berm, and down below is a rock wall that the original miners had built to keep the creek out of the mine. Here's a close-up of that rock wall. Here's where the mine was. We found a support beam that was left over from the mine, and back in that hollow is where the mine itself actually was at one point. Now, we didn't find this structure, but this is probably what the mine looked like when it was originally made. Now, here's the start of the problem. It was the place where we had lunch, and we sat down on this log and had half a sandwich, and I put that half a sandwich in my pack, zipped it up, and then left the pack there because I didn't want to carry it. And then we hiked the rest of the way up the gulch. And this is just an example of a type of pack, a day pack, that I left the sandwich in. And we were expecting, of course, to pick the pack up on the way back to the canoe. Well, when we got back to this area where we had lunch, there was nothing left. The pack was gone. There was no trace whatsoever of the pack. And because there were no people there, we figured an animal must have come by and taken the pack, dragged it off someplace, and then probably torn it open later in order to get at the sandwich. Now, if it wasn't a black bear, it was probably a raccoon. Raccoons are fairly small, but they're also very strong, and so they easily could have smelled that sandwich in there and dragged the pack away. Now, the point of this whole thing is if you're going to drop your pack and leave it and then expect to come back later and pick it up, you better make sure that there's nothing really valuable in that pack. If I would have left my car keys in there or my wallet, it could have been a disastrous experience because we were, fairly far out in the wilderness, and getting back to the car with no keys would have been a real problem.